We're still in a series on relationships, and I appreciated what Barry had to say earlier on the Lord's Supper, that it is about the body being together and loving one another and honoring one another. We're going to talk about honor in this sermon this morning, and I believe I'll have something to say that will help you. We're talking about relationships, and we're primarily talking about marital relationships. But this information applies to all relationships, so there'll be something here for everyone. But especially if you're married or contemplating getting married, I've got some information for you that will help you improve your relationships. Now, we're talking about honor. Did you know that you can stop liking someone because feelings are only a reflection of who or what you honor? If you don't like your job or your career, it's because you've been dishonoring it. Whatever you want to honor, you can decide to honor, so you can literally choose to start honoring your mate. Now, the word honor has a great deal of meaning. It means attaching high value to someone or something. Standing in the presence of someone and going, "Oh, I'm standing in the presence of someone who is awesome," and it is showing honor to other people. There's a lot of dishonor in the world today. The word honor is missing in our country. Sometimes it's even missing in the church. And so we see a lot of dishonoring going on. People are lowering the value of life. We're not standing in the presence of life and going, "Oh, it's so awesome. I'm in the presence of something very valuable." And because we do not honor life, it affects our feelings. If we are a discouraged type of person, or we get depressed or lonely a lot, or any of those negative emotions that none of us want, many of those emotions come directly from our attitude about how we honor ourselves and how we honor other people. If a person puts himself down or herself down, they can lose their feelings for themselves. It lowers our self-esteem, and pretty soon we stop liking ourselves. Did you know there are a lot of people walking around that do not like their self? They have this self-hatred about themselves. Their self-esteem is at an all-time low, and then we go through life provoking other people to treat us the way we feel about ourselves. But the opposite of that is also true. When I realize how valuable I am as a person, then my feelings change for me. We can learn to turn negative emotions and things in our life into positive, so our emotions and attitudes come out of the word honor. When's the last time you turned to your mate or your friends or your kids and you went, "Oh, unbelievable. I'm in the presence of someone who is awesome. I'm in the presence of someone made in the image and the likeness of God, and you are so valuable. I'm sitting next to someone who is so valuable." Try it and see how it makes you feel. Just turn to the person sitting to you right now and say, "Oh, wow." I mean, it feels uncomfortable to do that, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel uncomfortable to do that? Because we're not in the habit of doing that. Now, whatever you want to honor, you can decide to honor, so you literally start choosing to honor your mate. If I had a $500,000 watch up here, now I don't. You might have to talk with Barry about that. But if I had a $500 watch up here and I passed it around and you had it in your hand, you would go, "Wow." Because you would attach a great deal of value to that, and you would have honor for that because you would know that you're holding something very, very valuable. You would have a lot of honor for it. The Bible teaches us in Romans 12, verse 10, "Be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another." Are you good at honoring those around you? We need to learn how to be honoring those that we come in contact with. Honor our mate. Let's look at our wives. Women are very special. In Proverbs 18, verse 22, the Bible says, "Whoso findeth a wife, findeth a good thing." You see, A wife is not a thing, but she is a person of great value. Two qualities that a woman has to show you the greatness of women. But before I do that, let me explain some of the differences between men and women. Now, I take you back to the first epistle of Peter. In the 3rd chapter, verse 7, he said, "Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with your wife according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered." Give honor to your wife. And likewise, wives are to give honor to their husbands. Let me tell you some differences between men and women that will help you honor her better and honor your husband better if you're married. Every cell in a man's body is different than the cells in a woman's body. That's millions of differences right there. The chemicals are different. The muscle structure is different. Women have the 2X chromosomes in their makeup. Therefore, they have a better immune system than men do. They are stronger than we are right at conception. Fewer baby girls die before and after birth than boys. It averages out at about 15 years of age. Women basically have fewer diseases than men do. Now, you'll probably never have to use this, but women actually do better in concentration camps. They resist diseases better than we do. About 40% of the male's body weight is muscle, as opposed to 20% of the woman's body. Women have a layer of insulating cells over your whole body, and thank God for that. It makes you much more prettier than guys. Aren't we glad for that? But the negative of that, ladies, is that it's easier for you to gain weight and harder for you to lose weight. Ladies, did you know that a man's skull is thicker than yours? Actual physiological tests show that. Now, I'm sure you didn't need me to tell you that. Most women are very much aware that a man has a thicker skull than she does. One thing fascinating about the differences between male and female, for a few days after conception, not birth, but after conception, we both look the same. We both look like little girls. And then an interesting thing happens. Mom releases a chemical through her body. It hits the little girl and nothing happens. It hits the little boy and stimulates the growth of testosterone, drives us sexually, makes us more aggressive, does many things to us, changes our body. But the most significant thing that it does to this date that we're aware of, when that hormone hits the little boy's brain, it washes his brain. It literally causes brain damage. Now, we are not brain damaged in a negative way. It's a very positive thing. This brainwashing is very valuable. It's what makes men very valuable. As we become adults, men are lateral brained. We use one side of the brain at a time. Whereas women are bilateral in their brain. Women have more connecting fibers between both hemispheres of their brain. Not only more connecting fibers, but they are larger connecting fibers than in a male's brain. And for some reason, they have greater access going back and forth between the two hemispheres of their brain. And part of that is part of your intuition. You can take in more information at any given moment than we can because you are very alert. You see more, hear more, partly because of the way that your brain is wired. You see, men are wired so that we favor the left side of our brain. This side of the brain is where the language system is stored, the logical, the engineering, the accounting. This is not true of every man. It's true for about 80% of the population. There are exceptions to all things. And this is true for 80% of the population. There are some women that are left brain dominant, and there are some men who are right brain dominant. The left side of the brain is the cold, factual, lectury, logical, conquering. informational. The right side of the brain is where you feel something. Women are much more in touch with their feelings than men are. They cry more easily. You feel things more deeply than we do. You know how you feel about something, whereas men tend not to. You know where your emotions are, and men tend not to. The right side of the brain is where we sing, write a poem, hug somebody. It's where we relate in an intimate, loving way. The left side of the brain is more factual. Let's get this thing done. Conquer. It's where we go about to accomplish a great task in our life. The left side of the brain is where we make decisions, and that's the strength of a man. He can make a decision and follow a plan, whether he feels like it or not. If he believes in the plan, that's the strength of a man. Women are more right brain dominate, and they're more in touch with their emotions and their feelings, but they are bilateral. They can go back and forth between the two hams of their brain, and that has to do with a lot of different ideas in the way they see things and how they relate to people. And knowing that helps us better understand how to make things work in the home. You know what moves more significantly on a little girl right after birth? Her lip muscles. Now that is to be taken in an honorable way. It enables her to intimately communicate. It's good that women have that tendency. Women are less aggressive than men are. Men start more fights. We have more violent dreams than you do. You have much more romantic kinds of dreams. These differences have tremendous implications. 5 significant differences between men and women. Much of this is based on the fact that women are bilateral and men tend to be lateral brain. That is, we use one side of the brain at a time. That's how a man uses it. That's how he thinks. Whereas women can go back and forth, and you'll see why that's important in a moment. And also that testosterone flows through the male and not through the female. These things can make a relationship that ought to be great strained. Men tend to want to discover and express facts. Women like to express intuition and emotions, again, right brain. One of the ways we know this is they wired up little girls and boys 2 to 4 years of age, and they recorded every sound that came out of their mouth. They discovered that 100% of all the noises coming out of the little girl's mouth had something to do with conversation with self or with someone else. It's a physiological difference. Guess how much so with the boys? 60% of noises coming from the little boy's mouth had anything to do with conversation. Almost half was just noises. You know, playing like they're driving a car or riding a motorcycle, and they go on making all those noises. And that can go on in a marriage. The wife says, "Can we talk tonight?" And he just grunts. He don't want to talk tonight because he's thinking that he's done something wrong, and this is all going to come out. And so he wants to put it off. But it's good that ladies do that, because that's how you grow. That's how you mature. In fact, that's why God put you together with that person, so that you could nudge each other toward more spiritual growth, so that you could become aware of what bugs you the most about life and about people. Your spouse kind of edges you on so that you can do some material or some spiritual growing. You would never make those decisions to grow if you were not under some pressure. If you always do what you're comfortable doing, you'll never make any changes. You have to get out of your comfort zone to grow and mature, and that's what God wants to happen in a marriage. You see, the average man speaks about 12,000 words a day. Now, this is not new information. I don't even remember where I got this information, to tell you the truth. But we've known this for several years now. The average man speaks 12,000 words a day, and the average woman speaks 25,000 plus words a day. Now, what is the implication of that? Well, when the average man gets home, he's already spoke his 12,000 words. She's just getting warmed up. Now, with more and more women in the workplace, it kind of evens out a little bit, but it's still the case that men speak a lot less words than women do, and it has to do with the left side and the right side of the brain. She says, "Can we talk tonight, honey?" He says, "About what? What fact do you want to talk about?" "Oh, nothing specific, just talk." We say, "Well, if you don't have anything specific to talk about, let's just forget it." Or we'll talk about the facts until they run out, and then we're done. And you're just getting warmed up. You think, what happened to the conversation? It ended because we ran out of facts. It's hard for a man to talk about relationship things. It's hard for a man to talk about feelings. You may ask your husband, "How do you feel about your work?" Most men will say, "I feel fine, get off my case." They don't even know what you're trying to do. Now, what you're trying to do is have a deeper level relationship. You want it below the surface. You don't want a casual relationship. You want a deep, meaningful relationship, and you're trying to move him in that direction, but he doesn't have a clue. Most men don't. They have no clue what you're trying to do. You see, men and women can learn to use both sides of their brain. I can develop the right side of my brain, and women can develop the left side of their brain, but it's like a lot of things. If you are a total extrovert or a total introvert, and those are on both ends of the spectrum, a total introvert will never be an extrovert, and an extrovert will never be an introvert. But you can make concessions, you can mature and grow so that you are getting closer to a balance, and you can relate much better. The majority of men need solutions. What do women need? They like to give sympathy and express feelings and emotions. The kids usually go to mom if they want sympathy. They don't come to us because we'll give them a lecture. "Son, if you'll shape up, get some discipline to yourself, if you'll cowboy up." No, they'll go to mom for sympathy because they probably won't get that much from dad. Now, I think that's changing somewhat. More and more men are becoming aware of what they need to be becoming as husbands and as men, but it's a slow process. What do men want to do on a trip? Conquer 500 miles. It's the left side of the brain. Why? I mean, think about this. The wife and the kids will need to be going to the bathroom, and the guy's saying, "Well, I can't stop now. I got to conquer another 100 miles before we can pull off and stop." Why is it hard to get your wife interested in hunting? Get a gun. Take her deer hunting. Why don't she want to do that? Because she doesn't want to blow Bambi off the trail. I mean, she looks at that decapitated deer that you just shot, and you're dressing it, and she says, "How could you do that?" Men don't feel like you do. We hunt and conquer. What happens to a lot of guys? Well, most guys are much more relational before they get married. You ever notice that? They're much in tune with what you want to do before you get married. They're more relational before you get married. Why? Because when you get married in a ceremony, a man conquers you. Left side of the brain. The relationship doesn't have to be there as much as it was in the beginning because he won. You got married. There were even rings that you exchanged. You have marriage license. He won. You're married now. And so what does he do? He's got to go off and conquer other things like a career or a job. It's not all bad. And so he doesn't think the relationship has to be there the way that it was while he was dating you, while he was trying to win you over. Now he's won. He has you. You said, I do. And you're wondering, where did all the conversation go? Where did all the flowers go? You see, men are wired so that love is something that we choose to do. Whether we feel like it or not, it's easier for men to make that kind of a decision. Men tend to be more objective, and women tend to be more personal. A football game. Why is it hard for a woman to watch a football game on TV? Because they don't know anybody down there on the field, and there is no intimate relationship taking place down there. It's left brain, kill the quarterback. Stomp him in the ground. It's not relational. Women are more personal. You see, men can separate who we are from our surroundings a lot easier than a woman can. It's much harder for her to separate her being from her home, her children, her job, what she does. It becomes part of her identity. And I get my identity from what I do. Women get their identity largely from who they know. And she, even if she is a full-time career woman, will still want those relationships at work and at home. The implications of that are numerous. You start out the door to go somewhere and your wife says, oh no, I forgot to wash the dishes, or I didn't make up the bed. It's hard for her just to walk out because that's part of her that's undone. Kind of like her messing her hair up and saying, let's go out to dinner. Not going to happen, guys. Not going to happen. And I don't know that I'd want to be married to a woman that would do that, to tell you the truth. I want her to look as good as she can look. And anyway, I don't want to get off on that. Anyway, let's talk about your problems, not mine. It's hard for her to leave things undone. That's part of her identity. We tend to generalize things as males. You tend, ladies, to get detailed. Because you experience things on the right side of your brain, it touches your feelings, and the more we experience things from an emotional standpoint, the easier it is for us to remember it. What is so wonderful about women? They have a natural desire to have a great relationship. Unless they've been abused. If a woman has been abused, she's been hurt a lot, she will tend to block out those emotions because she doesn't ever want to be hurt again. And how can you keep from being hurt again? By blocking out your feelings and your emotions. Now, if that's the case, you can overcome that. There is help available to overcome that kind of thing. But women have a natural desire to have a great relationship. And secondly, you have a natural capacity to recognize a great relationship. A woman will tell you, she will know if they have a good relationship. The man may not know. How many men have I known over the years who wake up one day and realize their wife left them? And they didn't have a clue. They thought everything was going well. And so, you can have a great relationship, a great marriage, if you're willing to do three things. If a man knows what he's doing, he can facilitate a great relationship with his wife by asking her three questions. What kind of a marriage do we want? On a scale of 0 to 10, what is your marriage today? Say it is a 5 out of 10. Women will answer that much more accurately than men will. The average male will answer it 2 to 3 points higher. He may say, well, my marriage is a 7 or 8, and his wife will say, no, more like a 4 or a 5. Because she is in touch with relationship issues. She knows. Right side of the brain. And then question number 3, what would it take in the next several days to make our marriage a 10, the best it can be? Any couple can do it. You have to be willing to hear the real things. You've got to be gentle and really sensitive about it. But any couple can have a great relationship if they are willing to do the right things. But remember, we talked about commitment the last 2 Sundays. If both of you have a commitment that is from the heart, backed up by external deeds and behavior, if you have a heart commitment backed up by your actions and your deeds, if both of you have that commitment, you can have a great relationship. It's not that hard to do. It just takes a willingness to work on it. It takes a priority on your part. So we need to start honoring one another. We need to honor one another in the kingdom of God, and we need to honor our spouses. We need to honor our kids, and our kids need to honor their parents. Oh, how much better this world would be if we went back to honor, recognizing the value of life and the value of people. And you can facilitate honor best in a situation, in an atmosphere of understanding. Where are you today in your honoring of Jesus Christ, in your honoring of your spouse, in your honoring of your kids, in your honoring of your brethren in Christ? What we want to do is develop better relationships, and that's what we're talking about, because the church can be stronger and grow when we have better relationships. I hate to say it, but I'll say it. Better relationships, honoring one another, and we would have more people here this morning. Okay? Your fault, my fault, nobody's fault. We need honor. We need to love one another with a pure heart, fervently. Now, I'm going to offer an invitation. If you need to respond to the gospel of Jesus Christ, to be baptized into Christ, we have a baptistry right over there. We'd love to help you be united with Jesus Christ. If you're already done that, if you've already been baptized into Christ and you need prayers, we'd love to help you any way we can. Let us know that, and we'll pray with you and for you that you will be blessed, that your life will be better. Come right now as we stand and sing.